Hey, welcome to another new episode, and after several episodes of compelling questing content, very little fast-forwarding, I guess outside of a bit of thieving grinding, this episode is going to be basically nothing but grinding, so it might only be a few minutes long. Maybe I'll bail out. I mean, this is the beginning of hour 1 of 8, so I might get an hour or two into this and be like, I can't do this nonstop, and have to treat it like agility and only do, a level or two per session. But we're going to try to get as far as we can with thieving with this minigame. Hope you enjoy. Alright, I'm gonna do a slow lap here really quick just to talk through how I personally optimize this. It's probably not the fastest way to do it. I bet other players have done it more quickly and reset the XP counter. So once I have a full inventory of stew, I click on Serve Buffet Table, and on my character's way there, I go to the World Switcher to be ready to switch worlds the moment it turns in. Obviously, I'm going to be a little bit slower since I'm explaining it live here. I just pick the next world in the list with the next highest ping. Now, the tricky part is I have to use my keyboard for the meat table. The other tables I can do shenanigans with, but there's no ability to fill my inventory. I can only do take X, not take all or take 50 from the meat table. So as soon as the world switch occurs, during the world switch animation, I make sure I bring my main mouse over to my gaming PC. Otherwise, I'm not able to use my keyboard. I right-click and hit Take X Meat Table, and while my character is walking there, I need to have my pump-up music. So I turn on alternative route, type in 14, and then immediately click down here to hit the utensil cupboard. Do Take All. The reason for Take All is because, or Take 50 rather, is it will just fill my inventory. I don't have to type a second time. Then I click on the square in front of the sink, and as my character is walking to the sink, I click on the bowl and on the sink itself. Now, while the water's filling, which is fairly quick, I try to prepare a meat to be able to click the moment the last water finishes filling. And I put my mouse here in preparation to click the meat button. Now, this last part that I've optimized, I don't know if there might be a better way to do this. I was doing it a little bit differently if you watch the saltpeter gathering for Hosidius favor. I was able to line things up so that there was like one column of one thing I had to combine, another column of the other thing, another column of the other thing, another column of the other thing, like alternating. But the way this one works, it moves the items around, so you can't do that. So what I try to do is, on the exact tick when the meat stops cooking, I already click onto the square so that I can get my 50 potatoes, but I don't want to grab the potatoes when I'm walking. So on that last tick, as the meat cooks, I want to click the square, move into my inventory. This is going to be a lot slower because I'm explaining it. So move into my inventory as she starts walking, and I'm going to start with this meat because it's the last meat in the list, and combine it with this water because it's the last water in the list, and they're not going to move if I do this exactly right. So I click the meat, I click the bottom right water, and then I immediately click the bottom right water again and the top meat. So I do click, 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 click. It's very precise. If I miss a click, it throws the whole rhythm off. Because there's an even number of meat and waters, I should end back where I started to be able to click the food cupboard, take 50 potatoes, to click here and then start combining while she's walking the remaining potatoes. And I'll do one run, so I don't know how I can stop it from fast forwarding because I can't do it if I'm talking over it. I'm like significantly slower. That's a lot faster than letting it auto cook basically. But by limiting your clicks to click, 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 you can always be in the same space. And when I was doing this yesterday when we cut the episode, I got to the point where I'd like learned the crook in my right hand where I could stop the mouse from moving so it would always land in exactly the pixel I needed it to. I bet this would be easier on a lower resolution. Like if I was even more zoomed in and I had more error space for clicking, it would be easier to pull off. So we click the buffet table as soon as the last one cooks, cancel out of the animation, and then in theory I already have the world switch pulled up, so I'm ready to pop over there. But let's do that again, fast forwarded, a billion times. $60 cooking, that's a big threshold. Now cook curry, mysel fish, pricket bats, and mushroom pie. at least 5 to go, possibly 10 to go, but 5 is the next big threshold. At 5, we can make pineapple pizzas in this minigame, which I think increases the XP per hour by like a factor of 3, which I think actually makes gaining levels faster here, even though the XP curve has gotten nastier by 65. So if we can make it to 65, it's going to take a couple hours, but let's see, what does it recommend? 22 minutes per level? That's still like 3 times faster than agility at this stage. Alright, shutting up so I can continue. There's 61 cooking, and we get a different fanfare. That's interesting. So my resolve hasn't broken. I'd still like to level cooking. You heard an F sound though. I'm a little nervous that this isn't generating any food for me to use in the future, and that I'm going to end up over-leveling cooking when I need to stop to go get food in the future. So I'm going to continue this by fishing for like an hour. I'll watch the clock from when I start. Then I'm going to cook all the fish that I fished up. We'll see how much XP that gets, what the XP per hour is comparing to this mess hall minigame. If it's significantly worse, then I'll keep doing this, but we got to do some sort of mix of the two. Because it's like I need to level fishing anyway. I think to like 60 something. So I may as well cook all that fish and have it be XP that counts toward the 70 cooking that we need to finish Recipe for Disaster. I'm going to pop over to Catherby and do some swordfish fishing, and then we might come back to Hosidius in a bit. And we're definitely going to come back to Hosidius to cook it on the range here, just because the swordfish and tuna are both technically still burnable at my current level of cooking, I believe. But whether or not we continue the mess game, we'll see. I think it is probably going to have to require that I break it up in some way, like do a level of cooking and then go do a short quest and then do a level of cooking and then go do a short quest and so on. Give myself some kind of mental reward for sticking it out. So it seems like making the trip to and from Hosidius probably isn't worth doing too frequently, so I'm going to wait until I have either 280 tuna or 280 swordfish. Basically 10 full inventories worth. Whichever comes first. I think it's going to be tuna. I think I still catch more tuna than I catch swordfish. So that might be a while. It's a while to catch an inventory of them. We'll see how many levels of fishing that gets us, because we definitely need to get fishing up there. I'm at about a 50-50 catch rate, so I guess if I have 280 of both kinds of fish, should be quite a bit. I guess I can math while I'm fishing here. If I have 280 tuna and 280 swordfish, exactly how much cooking XP that equals and how many levels that gets me, I guess I'll do that. Look at that, fishing 54. We need 60 something, so it's all in service of a greater good. I guess I can see what the next fish I unlock is. Ooh. Monkfish, maybe? I probably will finish fishing long before I get that opportunity. Finish cooking, I should say. Long before I get to monkfish. Fingers crossed, we'll see, maybe not. Oh damn, I guess at 55 fishing I can do barbarian barehanded fishing, which it says is just as fast as fishing with a harpoon, except it gives tiny bonuses to strength XP, which sounds great, so that's something to look forward to. 55 fishing we should hit in 41 minutes. Fishing's quite a bit slower than cooking, turns out. Guess it's more AFK. The thing I was doing in Hosidius was extremely not AFK and very click intensive. But anyway, 55 fishing will be exciting. We can do some barbarian fishing, maybe get a few strength levels. I think it's a very small amount of strength XP, but it adds up over time. Ooh, actually, never mind though, because 55 fishing is required to barehand tuna, but not swordfish. We wouldn't be able to get swordfish anymore. Well, I'll give it a try once we hit 55. I think I have to do a short mini quest in order to be able to barehand. But I can go start that, do that at 55, see what it's like, see how much fishing XP it's giving per hit, and then switch back to harpoon so we can get swordfish as well. I'm trying to see if I have any other better options for leveling cooking, because I would like to get back to questing here. Looks like jugs of wine are possible, involving buying resources from the Culinaromancer's chest, and then combining them in the Lumbridge basement to make wine. I guess it gets really good at 68 cooking, because that's when you can no longer screw up making the wine. You're definitely not at that point. But I might go try it after doing this round of cooking before going back to the mess hall. I'm going to default back to the mess hall if we have to. I think the major issue is like when you're grinding for a specific level that's more than like 5 levels ahead of you, like we were doing earlier with 70 agility. It might need to be... Okay, so we're going to finish this fishing trip, and then we're going to go try jugs of wine. I think I'm going to call finishing this fishing trip getting 55 fishing. That seems like a good stopping point. So that we'll cook all this on the Hosidius range, and we'll go try jugs of wine and see how that does. And then if jugs of wine aren't worth doing or are too expensive, we'll go back to the mess hall minigame. But I will do the mess hall for 1 level of cooking, and then we'll go do a quest. And we'll do another level of cooking, and then we'll do a quest, and so on. Just to keep my sanity. It seems like jugs of wine are a good investment in the account, because they heal for like 11 hit points and they give you an attack penalty, so it's not something you want to use in like real combat, real questing, but for certain skills that drain your health, like agility courses, and especially thievery. If I could just have jugs of wine as my thievery healing item, that would be pretty great. So that's the plan. Obviously it might change as we go, but an hour, 2 hours into this cooking episode, that's what I'm thinking now. Also, whoops, apparently that node was lasting me a long time. There's fishing 55. Neat. I'm going to try a little bit of barbarian fishing if it lets me. I did already talk to the guy that teaches it way back in like episode 2, several couple hundred hours ago. I'm only going to catch a couple fish with it to see how much XP it gives. Oh, looks like I'm able to do it. Feel you've learned more of the barbarian ways. Otto might wish to talk to you more. How much did that give me? 8 strength XP. How much fishing XP? I think it's the same. It just gives you extra strength XP, maybe? Unless she cleans off her hands after catching one. 80 for tuna. What do we get when we use 80 experience. Okay, yeah, so it's just strictly better if you're going for that specific fish. In this case, I actually want swordfish as well, so I don't know that it's strictly better. I'm going to grab some runes, and we're going to pop over to Hosidius. I still think the best way for me to get to Hosidius is through Port Sarum. Might not be right, but... Alright, cooking all this tuna. We're going to do the tuna first. I don't think it's enough to get us to 62 fishing, which would reduce the burn chance on swordfish. But I guess the theory is get as close to 62 as possible with a fish that's impossible to burn. Even if it's only like 1% less, lower swordfish burn rate, it's slightly more optimal, maybe. That is all the tuna. I'm going to take a short break before we start the swordfish. Alright, cooking the swordfish real quick and then possibly trying wine after another short break. Hey, there's 62 cooking. Just 3 to 8 more to go. Probably 8. Monkfish, I think we have to do a complicated quest to be able to unlock, but that requires a much higher fishing level to attempt it. And that's all the swordfish. Woof. A lot of time spent fishing for like 1 level of cooking. I think we are going to end up falling back to the mess minigame. It's a lower XP per hour, but it's not dependent on another skill to be able to go up. But we're going to try wine here. I'm going to pop over to the Culinaromancer's chest and give that a shot. We did end up with 168 total cooked swordfish, 337 total cooked tuna in the bank. Some of that's left over from before, but that's going to help a lot with leveling stuff up in the future. Alright, let's see how this plays out with making wine. Looks like I have to do a ton of world hopping to get the requisite number of grapes. 2600 XP, that's pretty close to what we're getting from the mess. I gotta do a lot of setup, though, in comparison. I guess the difference is I end up with a jug of wine I can use, whereas the mess I end up with nothing. Well, I'll see. I guess I didn't think about the fact that I don't get the jugs back, so... I will probably just buy a shitload of jugs and just try to set up a jug of bad wine. That's right. I think that can happen. I'm going to just deposit as many jugs as I have grapes, basically, so it's going to take a little while. Enjoy the fast forward. Probably a more efficient place that I can fill jugs, so I'm going to go track that down really quick. I think the Hosidius kitchen is actually pretty good for that, so I'm going to roll over there really quick. And we'll be back here, I think is correct to farm the grapes by world switching. Okay, so I'm thinking about moving my player-owned house to Hosidius. Remington has been convenient sometimes, but I think I have other ways to get there. It's not that far from Falador, whereas, like, whenever I want to go to Hosidius, it's a hell of a walk. I guess I can always move it depending on which skill I'm currently focusing on. If I'm focusing on cooking, then it makes more sense. Okay, so when we're considering how efficient making wine is, at least with a 10-man account where I'm not allowed to buy the jugs of water and the grapes, we have to consider the prep time. It took me 34 minutes to get 718 jugs of water and 160 grapes. So we'll keep that in mind. I'm going to take a short break, and we'll be back to turn all of this into wine, and then buy the necessary grapes to turn all of the remaining jugs of water into wine, and see how much, what level we end up being at the end. So see you soon. Okay, so I think the right way to do this, since you can get a big XP drop, is to, how do I phrase this? You want to get only enough XP to level up. You don't want to exceed a level up, because then you're potentially not benefiting from the improved chance of not failing the wine. So we're going to do 72 wines, then we'll see how many it says remaining, and then we'll keep buying grapes in multiples of the actions remaining to level up. I think that makes the most sense here. Teleport back to Lumbridge and get on with it. 13,200 XP drop. That's pretty wild. Alright, it says I need 9 actions, so I'll probably just do this and then see what level I get out of that. See how many bad wines I ended up making. It looks like you can get it from in the bank, which is what I was confused on earlier. I'm like, well, if you really have to wait 12 seconds at the end every time, that doesn't seem effective. But it looks like it ferments everything on the same tick, 12 seconds from when you made your last wine, even if it's in your bank, and then gives you the XP for all of it. Which is kind of nuts. And I only failed 4 out of 60 something, so it's pretty good chance. Something's fishy. I am getting the right amount of XP, but I think I underestimated how many I was going to need to make. I think I estimated it based on each jug, but it was actually based on the initial set of jugs. Oof. Okay, well, that might take a while. I'll go ahead and finish what I got here. See what happens here. About to get a big dose of XP. 8,400. Alright, so this is doable. I don't know if it's faster. I guess, like I said before, the main benefit is that it generates something that I can use, namely wine, which heals for 11 and can basically replace tuna as my training for a skill that requires healing that isn't combat. So, thieving. I like having something that's dedicated to that. I'm going to go ahead and finish off the 562 jugs of water. I think the setup for this is too complicated for this account. Since I can't... If I could buy some of these from the Grand Exchange, that would make it really efficient. But since we can't do that, or I've chosen not to do that, then it's a little slow because I have to buy all the grapes manually, and it looks like I'm competing with other people to buy the grapes, which is kind of a bummer. I need to find the order in which these other people are buying grapes. I'm doing it by ping, but they're probably doing it by world. Maybe if I start at a different number and count down or something, I can beat them to it. Anyway, we're going to buy a shitload of grapes. It's going to take forever. Let me check my money count here. I need to buy 562 grapes, so enjoy that on fast forward. Okay, we're at 565 grapes. It required going through basically every world in the list. So the amount of prep that goes into this for a Tin Man might not be worth the payoff. But we'll go ahead and combine all of these, see what level that creates. I do want to get 63 before I mass combine them, just so I don't over-level, miss out on some potential XP. I am saving on average 93 gold per grape though, so maybe that's an arbitrar's opportunity. Buy grapes from the chest and then flip them. Cooking 63. So I noticed there's no music down here, so we'll turn on the classic alternative route. I'm going to try to get to 64 here. Mass combining. I'm actually going to combine one group of them to see how many it projects I'm going to need. Okay, so it says 15 if I get 2,400. How many failures is that? 2. Okay. Do I even have enough to get a level up? I do. About 390. Okay. So when I get down to 145 jugs, I need to stop. Well, here we go. Oh, cooking 64 apparently blew up while I was typing over here. Well, that's good. I mean, I can keep combining. I guess I miscalculated and I was... this is more efficient than I thought it was. It shouldn't be depending on that actions indicator. I guess I should be depending on the amount of XP I get per inventory and looking at the XP left to calculate. This should reduce the rate at which I make bad wine, so that's a good thing. I went over to type something in Discord, so I must have exceeded the fermentation timer. All goes well. I might be able to get 65 out of this, which means at least I can do pineapple pizzas in the mess minigame. But I still don't know if this is second for second more efficient than the mess minigame, simply because I have to do so much prep to be able to start doing it. It probably is if you're buying it from the Grand Exchange. It's probably insanely effective in that case. That's a much easier way to do the math anyway. Just divide the XP I need by 200 per wine. So I need 189 successes. We'll try stopping once I have 200 unfermented banked. I should try to figure out what my failure rate is, but it should be fairly low since we're close to the level where failing completely stops. Here we go. This might hit 65 unless a bunch of them go bad. That's pretty sweet. 732k XP per hour. Not really. It's obviously a scam. Now cook pineapple pizza and make wine of Zamorak. How do I make wine of Zamorak? Is that something I can make with wine? Because if I could turn him into something, that might be cool. Wine of Zamorak. 65 cooking. To combine Zamorak scrapes with a jug of water. Creates 200 cooking experience. Okay, so it's the same as what I already make. Zamorak scrapes. Harvesting grapes and Hosidius. Belogus blessing in the inventory. Interesting. Alright, let me see if I can figure out my rate of bad so far. I made 577 jugs of wine and only 12 jugs of bad wine, so we're effectively at the point where I can just do a raw calculation, assume almost no burn rate. Okay. We need 42.6k. 600 divided by 200. It's 213 more, so I burned through my remaining jugs of water and grapes, so it will not be enough to hit 66. I do think even with the homework of filling the jugs and buying the grapes, this might be faster than anything else, which is kind of crazy. And it's producing so much wine. I already have 577 wines banked. I'll basically be set for pickpocketing for a very long time. Be super drunk in the process, but I'll be set. Well, I'm going to go ahead and burn through what remains of my inventory, and then I might take a quick break to just do a calculation of how many jugs of water I need to fill and how many grapes I need to buy to finish getting to 70 based on this alone. Technically right now I can do pineapple pizzas at the mess, and I could try to fish for a +5 skill boost from spicy stews, those things we were doing for the recipe for disaster quest. But that seems like I'd rather just hit 70 cooking and not have to worry about it. And I could see 70 cooking being advantageous in other ways later on. So yeah, we're going to burn through this water, these grapes. I'm going to calculate the number of jugs we need to make it to 70. We're going to go fill those jugs. It's going to be awful. And then we're going to buy those grapes, which is going to be even worse because it involves lots of world hopping and banking and nonsense. And then we're just going to do it all in one go, and it's going to be rad. So we'll see you in a long while. Okay, so we need 1,294 wines, it looks like, in order to go from our current XP total to 70 cooking. And that seems extremely feasible given that I just got like 750 wines. But I want to like check the math on that and make sure that's right, because that doesn't sound right. I currently have how much XP for cooking? 478, 868. 478, 868. 70 is 737, 627. Divided by 200. No, that's right. We'll call it like 1,400 to account for jugs of bad wine. So I'm going to go fill 1,400 jugs of water. I am envious of you that you're able to fast forward this. See ya. Hey, whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, filling jugs of water. It is finished. 1,400 jugs of water filled manually. Let's go buy 1,400 grapes, which is going to take way more time because I can only buy 7 at a time and I have to world hop every time. It's going to be awful. Are we going to finish this episode with... I promised I'd do a quest, right? Okay. Is it going to take less than 3 hours to buy 1,400 grapes? That's 200 purchases from full shops. If I'm competing against literally anyone, I will not be getting a full shop. I don't know. I will do a quest. If it requires going over time, we'll do a quest. And it won't just be turning in recipe for disaster. I'll find something cool to do. Holy crap, there's a keyboard shortcut for world switching. Gonna use that and increase efficiency ever so slightly. Interesting. It looks like the item stock of grapes goes up the further you are in Recipe for Disaster, up to a maximum of 10. So it must be equal to the number of people you've rescued so far. I wonder how that interacts with other players buying the grapes. There's definitely some worlds where the grapes are bought out, right? And I'm not super clear on what causes one or the other to happen. I think 70 is the max cooking we need to... Well, see, I think 70 is the max cooking we need for the quest cape, but we need to do more than that if I want to pay back the summer pies. My biggest regret in the playthrough so far. Be getting one skill to like 90, 95 just so that I can pay back some items that I bought earlier that I totally didn't need to buy. So that'll be nice anyway. When we finish Recipe for Disaster, I can buy 10 of these at a time. That'll make this way faster. I think it'll still be brutal to do this all manually, but it's possible. I should calculate. I think once we hit 68, it becomes impossible to fail making the wine. It's already pretty close to impossible now. So I should be able to know exactly how many jugs of wine we'll need to make to get cooking to 95 from 70. I'll look into that here. I think the answer is 40,000 actions. Alright, that's doable. It would be incredibly awful, but it's doable. Let me see if I can calculate time. I'd have to go back and watch the VOD to find out how many jugs of water I can fill per hour and how many grapes I can buy per hour. I mean, the grapes per hour is going to go up a lot once I finish Recipe for Disaster. If I can buy 10 at a time instead of 7 at a time. I think that's going to be the way to go, though. This is basically free. The XP rate is extremely high. Produces an item that I'm interested in using for potentially a very long time. Okay, let me figure out what the gold cost of that would be before I do anything. Okay, I did the calculation. It would require, like, not very much gold, actually. Like 120,000? No, 113,000. So it would be about equal to pickpocketing 3 Ranar seats. Whoa, what happened to my quick world hopper? Oh, that's why. So that's the cost, which I could afford easily. So it's good to know that I could afford it. Now I have to figure out the time investment. How many episodes would that be? So I think what I'm going to try to do here is whenever I get to the grape threshold to level up, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Like, I think it was right to go and get all of the jugs of water at once. But I got to break up the monotony of buying these grapes a little bit, and also allow time for some of these shops to restock, because I think it takes 6 minutes for them to restock, and I might be making it through this lift pretty quickly. Quickly enough that the time to restock might be relevant, I should say. So I'm going to try to do that calculation here as I wait on the world switch transition, because efficiency's key. I think I have enough to hit 66 right now. Once I fill up my inventory, I'll do that. Oh yeah, I might even have enough to hit 67. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started then. Okay, so I need 87 to hit 66. That's 279 grapes remaining. Off to the races. That's interesting. There's a timer in the top left corner of the screen showing you how much time you have until wine ferments. Didn't notice that. Thanks, RuneLight. Here we come. Should anyway. Oh wait, no, I actually need a little bit more. Let's see how close it gets us. We could do one more batch and that get to level. Oh, it delays until I get out of the bank. That's interesting. Yeah, I was short by 1. That's okay. 1 million per hour. Not actually correct. It just thinks it is because I reset the timer. Cooking 66. Wonderful. Alright, now I do math on how many I need for the next one. Give me 1 second to do that. 51,700 divided by 200 is 258, which I have enough of, so we'll also go ahead and hit 67 cooking before I start buying grapes again. I can keep listening to this wonderful song. Alright, so if it's 259, it's 281, let's call it 260 because of the burn rate. So I gotta leave 21 grapes behind. I could probably make the 95 grind, like, less awful by doing it in these stages. Getting all the water at once, which is really bad, but then buying the grapes in steps, like per level, basically. That's not unreasonable. Oh no! Slowed down. Beat it, okay. What was I going to say? Oh, I think it's kind of cool that I've unlocked this insanely efficient method of leveling cooking because of doing Recipe for Disasters 7 out of 8, right? And then it gets even more efficient, or faster for me to buy the grapes anyway. I think that's only true because I've chosen to do this as an Iron Man would. Grapes are way more expensive, like a factor of 100 more expensive on the Grand Exchange, probably because of how effective this method is for training. But saving from a money-saving perspective, it feels appropriate that Recipe for Disaster made us this good at cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them since the burn rate's so low and Ready for a gigantic XP drop. It's gonna be huge. 3, 2, 1. 56,000 XP. Cooking is now level 67. And I'll make tuna and sweet corn. Oh, that's cool. I do have all that cooked tuna. Farm for sweet corn. Alright, next up is 52.8k. Divided by 200 is 264 grapes. So we'll be back once I get 264 grapes from world switching. See ya. So having this really interesting discussion in Discord, and thought I'd share it in a video. I guess the people that would be interested by this sort of commentary, I haven't had a lot of like game design commentary while playing old school RuneScape. I've just been enjoying it for what it is. But like what we're doing right now, buying thousands of grapes and thousands of jugs to fill all of them with water to make wine to level cooking to 70, is objectively pretty stupid, right? Like if anyone's mom or wife or husband or dad walked in and saw us doing this, they'd be like, what are you doing with your life? But the magic of RuneScape compared to just about anything else I've ever played that's grindy is the way that these different grindy tasks interact with each other and the way that they unlock entirely different core gameplay loops, right? Like the core gameplay loop of fishing is fundamentally different from the core gameplay loop of combat, is pretty different from the core gameplay loop of magic combat, and all of those things are much different compared to what you can do in the end game once you have access to protection prayers, and once you start fighting more difficult bosses that ignore the effects of some of those prayers. So, like, what's interesting about this game is that, yes, I'm doing this phenomenally stupid thing of buying 1,400 grapes so that I can go from 65 to 70 cooking, but, like, that's going to unlock the end of Recipe for Disaster, which is going to unlock some new gear, which is going to be a prerequisite for other quests in the future, and a prerequisite to do all sorts of content that is different from what I'm doing right now. And I haven't really played a game that makes you do so many different things in order to experience the whole thing. I've played games that have a couple gameplay loops that either support each other or don't. Like, I'm famous for complaining about Final Fantasy XIV being at once a fairly high-quality visual novel and a very tightly designed and tuned endgame rating like experience, and that you have to play through the several hundred hours of visual novel to get to the rating experience. You can't have one without the other. This game is like that, except instead of it being two things, it's like a bunch of things. So I think that for people who like this game, they probably really like it because it's pressing a lot of buttons all at the same time. And sure, a lot of them degenerate back to just grinding or getting XP. But I don't know. I haven't played too many other games that have this form of great breakpoint grinding. You can think about like idle games, for example. In an idle game, sure, you can unlock a breakpoint where you can get more cookies per hour because now you've unlocked a new machine that produces them more frequently. But like the core gameplay loop of an idle game is pretty much the same throughout its entire course. It's either clicking at the beginning or going idle. Like, it's not the high variance you get in this game of clicks per hour versus AFK skills versus tick manipulation versus prayer flicking versus questing. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this game, but it doesn't feel like a theme park. Like a lot of modern MMOs that have followed in WoW's wake have taken the attitude of, hey, we've got 50 things for you to do, pick one or two. And this is one is like, we've got a million things to do, and we really should just do all of them. There's not really a valid path to only doing one. At least not if you want to experience all of the content any one of those things has to offer, right? You could say, well, I'll only ever level combat, but there are so many quests that involve combat that require every other non-combat skill to even be able to attempt in the first place. Anyway, /rant. Let's fast forward through the rest of these grapes. All right, it is time to get 68 cooking. Let's do it. Crank on the epic grinding music, now that we're not world switching. Cool. Here we go. I bought doing it all in one go. That's okay. Doesn't matter. After this level up, it's going to be impossible for me to fail wines, so I can calculate exactly going forward. Cooking 68. Hooray! Just 2 more levels until we can finish Recipe for Disaster. This has been a lot less painful than I thought it was going to be. I was not calculating assuming wines. Like, wines are high attention, but the attention level somehow is less stressful than that mess minigame. Because with mess, I could really feel how one misclick was affecting my XP per hour. And that's happening here too, but I guess the fact that I don't feel the efficiency element until I actually start mixing the wines makes it feel a little bit better. I get to cheat. Alright, so I think we're going to get to 70 cooking. I'm going to cook the thing for Recipe for Disaster 8. I'm going to turn it in, and then I'm going to take a break. Because I got some chores and stuff to do. I think I can do... We got enough time to do all that, though. Let's see. 62.2k divided by 200 is 311 grapes. I'll be back. This is super stupid, but like the fact that I'm having to compete with other players for grapes makes this slightly more thrilling than another comparable task. Like, I think part of the argument for why rune crafting is miserable is because there is a known and exact amount of pure essence you're able to farm at any given time. You never like randomly farm 2 essences at a time, and there's a known and exact number of runes that you get out of bringing them there. So it's like, you can already see exactly how long it's going to take. There's no chance that it could be slightly faster or slightly slower. So your brain has already like worked out what runecraft is going to look like, and it's already decided this is a bad idea. And then when you choose to do it anyway, you feel really bad. But I think you can fool your brain with small variants, like, smart people know that, okay, statistics still works out in the end. Just because I've gotten a bad roll 100 times in a row doesn't make me any more or less likely to get a bad roll the 101st time. But I think our intuition still wants to believe that, well, I could get like 7 lucky rolls in a row, right? It's like when we go pickpocketing. Thieving is kind of a miserable skill because it's just spamming click on something over and over for hours. But there's that chance that I could get 3 Ranar seeds in a row, even though it doesn't happen, and when it does happen, then I go dry for a couple hours inevitably, right? So the fact that sometimes I get 7 grapes and I'm like, ooh, that made this marginally faster. Nice. I think I'm buying these too fast, even when cycling through every world now. I'm buying them so fast the shops can't fully restock, even if it was just me and I wasn't competing against anybody else. So I'll have to keep that in mind as we do this in the future. I'll have to like break it up. I can do like 1 round of purchases and do something else, otherwise it stops being efficient. Alright, it's time to hit 69, dudes. Nice. Let's play the grinding music. Let's do this thing. Oh, dumbass. Alright, here comes 69, dudes! Whoa! Cooking 69. 1 more to go, and we can finish Recipe for Disaster, and then maybe do something else. That actually might need to be my take a break point. I wanted to push to 70, but I see how long it's taking me to buy grapes now, since I'm doing it so fast. Yeah, I need 347 grapes to wrap this. That's probably not going to happen at the time that I need to go do chores and stuff. So I'm going to wrap. I'm going to go hang out with my niece for a bit, do some chores, and we'll see you next time. Bye. And by bye, I mean see you in a few seconds. Hey, it's been a long time for me, but seconds for you. And I left myself in a good position. We're at 69 cooking. I just need 1 more level, so I'm going to sit here and farm some grapes. We'll be back in a little bit. I think running out of grapes was definitely a thing that was happening to me before, because every time I server hop, there are 7 now. I'm wondering if I was just going so fast that I wasn't letting them restock, and that was slowing things down. So this might be something I have to do every few hours. Also, when I logged in, I noticed that it said I'm eligible to drink from the Tears of Guthix, and I think we want to do that ASAP, because the sooner we do it, the sooner it regenerates again. So I'm actually not sure if that binds to a regular schedule or if it's bound to the last time I did it. We'll look into doing that later. Maybe that'll be the next episode. We'll grind up the skills. I still want Guthix XP to go to Herblore, so that would require me getting farming and hunter to be higher than Herblore, which would take a little bit. Hunter probably not as long. Farming, I'd have to find something to target to level up. Maybe I can start doing some Haralander herb runs or something. Or I could go do that Tithe Farm minigame I just unlocked in Hosidius. That sounds way better. Anyway, that's not your problem. That'll be next episode. Enjoy the continued fast forward on grapes. Alright, that wasn't a particularly efficient round of buying grapes. I had some distractions in real life over here, but I think we're ready to hit 70 cooking with what we got, so let's go ahead and do it now. Put on my grinding music, and away we go. Alright, here's the final countdown. We wrap nearly an entire episode of grinding, so we can finish Recipe for Disaster. Another skill at max for the quest cape. Cooking 70. Oh, it feels good. To make Admiral Pie, which I think I can use to boost fishing, right? It'll let me get into the fishing guild a little bit early. That's cool. Awesome. Alright, now, I actually don't remember what we need to do to make the thing for Recipe for Disasters. Let me check really quick. I think it's the stuffed snake, the red bananas, and the nuts, but make 100% sure that I know what I'm doing. Oh, I still need to use the zombie cook, so I'm not done. I can make the stuffed snake, but I gotta bring them all to Apatol. Okay. Got it. Do not eat sliced rose banana. Oh, I see, it automatically combines the relevant ingredients. Raw stuffed snake. Perfect. Okay, so I need to bring my zombie gree. I need to make basically a gear set here. I've got 2001 jugs of wine. I didn't even realize that I was doing that. Was it really almost exactly 2,000 jugs? That's pretty great. I guess it may have been exactly 2,000 jugs because I made extra. That's going to sustain pickpocketing basically forever. So, pretty great. Bringing gear for this thing. Zombie gree. I guess let's do ninja gree. So you can use that teleport. Let me bring the cooking gauntlets just in case it helps. I don't know that it does. It might make it not matter for this, but you never know. Okay. And we'll turn the epic music off. Back to questing. So I want to go to CLR. Actually, a pretty convenient barrier ring teleport. What did I think of it? Go back to the temple. Go down the trapdoor protected by the gorillas. Alright, can't walk past these guys, can I? Can't really open it from the front. Did not bring my M-Speak amulet. Hopefully I don't need it. Oh, that's tricky. That could have got me really screwed before. Hard task in the Western Provinces area. Huh, I actually don't know what that was. Maybe it was coming into the temple. Looks like, let's see. Crack in the wall between the two mammograms. Go through it. Coals prevent you from crossing, which is why we need the zombie Gree, which is a neat reason to make you get all the Grees for this quest. Let's see, it lives down here, so he doesn't care. Put the long rock on the floor. Cook the snake on it. Cook the stuffed steak to perfection. First try. Didn't even remember to put the gauntlets on. Guess I'll make the other ones. Heals 20 hit points. Ooh, second one burned. Glad we got multiple. Could have had bad luck there. Snake overcooked. Need to have my M-Speak amulet equipped. Interesting, I can't cast spells down here, or I just can't cast spells as a monkey. I guess it would make sense if I couldn't do it as a monkey. There we go. Back to Lumbridge. Don't accidentally eat the nice snake. Grab the M-Speak amulet. Let's deposit one of these guys. What else was I grabbing here? M-Speak. I can't believe we got this far in Recipe for Disaster. We started just a few episodes ago. We really knocked it out. That's a really hard quest, too. Where am I? Roasted stuffed snake. Lovely. Sure you can detect the delicate aroma of cheeky monkey nuts and the sweet perfume of red bananas, all slowly caramelized on hot rocks. Tucks into his roasted snake. That must be British. Who are you? Just a wandering chef traveling from town to town, saving people's lives. You're a bit odd, aren't you? Yet again, my heroic work goes unappreciated. Suppose that's the fate of a true hero. Or this dish makes you more cooperative. That's a lie. No, definitely not. Well, maybe. Well, getting to Apatol is a pain. You have a way of making it easier to get there. Oh, right. This is how we get the Apatol teleport. To all this trouble. This is the reason we started the quest, actually. I saw that this was in the quest list. It requires a banana. Son of a bitch. Of course it does. Yeah, because we hit 64 magic somewhat recently. What do I need to know? Takes a while to explain. The banana actually has a crucial effect on the teleportation matrix. Sorry I forced you to tell me this spell. You could have asked me to marry you. Yes, that would have been a lot worse. Get a ticket and join the queue, your monkeyness. You're confused. Oh man. 10,000 agility XP, I guess because of the agility course. Ability to use a teleport to Apatol quest. How much agility does this require? 48? Increased access to the Culinary-Mancer's chest. Oh man. Now we rescued all 8. Restart time so you can deal with a Culinary-Mancer. Okay. I don't think I'm ready to deal with it yet. Well, I don't think we have enough quest points to deal with it. But then I think even when we do have enough quest points, I need to get my combat way up, because it's supposed to be pretty difficult. Might actually start turning on the heart rate monitor for difficult quest content, like this guy's might be. Cannot defeat me, I'll be back. Hooray, he's gone. One day he'll return. You must go through the portal and finish him off. I need like 170 quest points to do that or something. 175. We currently have 146. So my current goal, I think, is soft goal is to get to 175 quest points via just what we've been doing, knocking out the short and novice quests. And then once we get to 175, hardcore training Slayer with maybe the occasional quest until we get combat up to like 80. I'm actually pretty close to combat 70, and I think I'd want to ding combat 70 before taking a new Slayer task, because then we can accept them from a new Taskmaster, Slayer Master. Yeah, and then we can do this quest, and then once that quest is done, we'll probably be high enough combat to start doing some of the other difficult quests. Actually, I still have some specific prerequisites for Culinarimancer that we haven't done yet that are not part of the 175 quest points. I might come at those later. Super exciting though, glad to be done with that. Kind of pumped to have a teleport to Ape Atoll when we need it. I don't know why we need to go back there now that we did. I guess there's a Monkey Madness too, but take us back there. Gregory's can go back. Think about my life here. So I think the plan is to finish Taibo and I Trio, which we started last time, and to look into what that requires. I think we need a gear set, first of all. That all seems right. At some point I need to see about making better ranged gear. I think I gotta get my crafting level up. Make the other d'hide bodies. Crafting I think I can actually do via gold. So maybe we'll try to do smithing, mining, and crafting all at the same time and see how far I can take it with the gold I've already collected. Okay, so that's a gear set. Range attack necessary to acquire a monkey's corpse. Agility potion. Agility potion, is that the toad flax thing? Toad flax and toad's legs. I actually have toad flax? I feel like I have to have found some at some point, right? Oh, that's toad flax seed. Really? Never got any? Huh, well, I guess I'll go plant those now. Let's get them growing. Have to grab some toad legs in order to get those. Let's see. Toad flax seeds. I think I have maybe just barely a high enough level in farming to be able to plant those. 38 farming. Oh, son of a bitch, I'm just one short. Alright, well, I'll try to harvest everything that I've got. I guess I can go do the tithe farm minigame for a bit. It's one of those things that would be way easier if I wasn't basically playing as an Iron Man. I'm going to switch off my combat gear and go back to Graceful for a minute, because I think I'm going to be doing some farming to get to 38 really fast. I don't know if I want to do tithe farm right now. Sweet corn, Asternium. Already got the toad flax. Alright, so I just barely have enough herb lore to make an agility potion. Alright, get the compost out. I totally forgot to check out the Advanced Culinarimancer's chest. I think I got dragon gloves should be next, and then I'll see how much food they stock, but I'm going to wait until I defeat the Culinarimancer before I level cooking any further. Nice clean looking 70 right there. God, I only need like 96 XP to get a farming level up. Ugh. Well, I guess while I'm here, I'll check on the Culinarimancer's chest. Guessing it's going to be 8 grapes. Actually, I don't know how much the dragon gloves cost. I'm guessing most people just hold out for the final upgrade. Buy items. Dinner dragon gloves. 130,000 coins. Oh my god, that's a jump. That sucks. Buy food. Just doing a world hop in case it hasn't finished restocking. Oh, looks like it's still 7. That's unfortunate. I can get barrels of apples from these, or baskets of apples. I didn't realize that before. It's convenient. Alright, let's go to Falador. This was the one that was the longest walk from the teleport, I think. There's farming 38. Now grow toad flax and get double willow roots. Cool. What do toad flax seeds take? But he doesn't say. You're kidding. Dragon gloves are that expensive, I'm probably going to have to do some more Master Farmer pickpocketing next episode. Next episode is going to be a lot of stuff going on. But pickpocket Master Farmers until we can afford to buy the dragon gloves. So that'll be one thing. Short quests. Combat leveling where possible. Oh yeah, Hunter to 39, Farmer to 39, so that the Tears of Guthix XP goes to Herblore. I need to start using the disease-free patch that we just got in Great Corund as a reward. That's all the more reason to move my house to Hosidius. So I'll do that here in a second. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this agility potion in time to finish Taibo and I trio for this episode. Herbs take longer to grow than I thought they did. Well, we have to find something else to do. Start researching that while I finish getting all these up. New Rag and Bone Man. We picked it up like in episode 1 or something. Probably good to just knock it out. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's move our house to Hosidius for a while. End up having to go to Remington. We'll just deal with it and go to Falador instead. It's a bit of an extra walk, but it could be worse. Welcome to the Gilnor Housing Agency. What can I do for you? Can you move my house, please? See us, please. I guess Brimhaven could be useful at some point. We end up doing a lot of stuff on Karamja. Thank you. I'm actually not sure where the player-owned house portal is. Okay, it's still a little out of the ways. I wish it was more in the center of town, but what are you gonna do? It's pretty close to the herb patches, though. It's probably the more important thing. Super close to the herb patches, actually, especially since they're protected. There's one I'm going to do every day. It's probably going to be this one. Alright, that's all the patches that I am concerned about. Let's do Rag and Bone Man, right? Can we do it in 30 minutes, is the question. Gotta get bones from more creatures. Goblin Skull, I think I already have. Check off the list here. Goblin. There's a skull. Big frog. No. Bear ribs. No. Okay, got a ram skull. We already got the unicorn bone, right? I deposited that forever ago. Monkey paw, I'm pretty sure we have. Yep. Giant rat. No, I do have giant batwing. So we just need a rat bone, bear ribs, and a frog leg. Easy. Easy peasy. So I'll grab a weapon. Oh, the big frogs on the lumbered swamp caves. I should deposit the secateurs. I always forget that I'm wearing them. That's going to require light source. It just goes to show how many items I've collected. I still got to do my bank organization. Maybe I'll run the episode late and end the episode with that, depending on time remaining. Well, there's my light source. I probably need the Slayer helmet too, right? Spiny helmet, I should say. I wish it was a Slayer helmet. It is not. So it occurs to me I completely forgot about fletching. Fletching just doesn't exist as a skill for me. I keep thinking it's a subset of crafting or something. So I gotta get fletching, hunter, and farming up. I want to be able to have Tears of Guthix affect Herblore. So that'll be a high priority next episode. All three of those things before we start doing short quests again. It's actually kind of cool that we had almost all these bones already just from exploring the game world. I feel like that's kind of the intent. And that was easily 240 plus hours ago that we picked up Rag and Bone Man. I'm pretty sure that was during the live stream. About 10 days of my real life have been wasted. Have been spent well invested in RuneScape. Now, we were talking in Discord too that I don't like people talking about adults wasting time. It's kind of silly. Like, once you kind of know what your time is worth, if you're educated enough to know what your time is worth, then you're educated enough to know that clicking fish in a medieval game for children is valuable to you, right? There's some fear about young children not knowing the difference, and these are all 100% drops. I probably killed a bear before and didn't pick it up, but it doesn't really matter if it's 100% drop, right? Who cares? There's supposed to be a rat spawn near these, this mine. I feel like we had a quest earlier. There it is. Acquired rat something or other. Where did I fight the giant bat before? Enil Dungeon. Keep Lefay. Wow. That's specific. Alright, giant rat bone. Make pots of vinegar. Okay, I need to go get vinegar, which I buy from Drainer Village. Once I cash in Rag and Bone Man, I might call this episode a little early. Seems like that would be a good stopping point. And potentially give me 30 minutes of spillover for the little bit of... We won't call it grinding, we'll call it training. The training we're going to have to do next episode. I need... how many pots? 8 pots. I'm going to eventually need 8 logs too, I guess. So I'll go ahead and grab an axe. Oh, well, no, I don't have to do that right now. 8 pots. Can I help you? If you got any vinegar... Vinegar? Vinegar? Very idea. My wines are the finest in the district. Told to come and speak with the wine merchant about getting vinegar. I must have found the wrong person. Did he send you? By he, you mean the old man with the sack of bones, and yes. Oh, cool. Oh, that's cool. He adds it to his inventory. So I need a few of these. Pour vinegar into the pot. So I need empty jugs for cooking later, right? Yikes. How many vinegar do I need? 35 jugs. Get my pots back in a second. 15 more. God, what the hell is Rag and Bone Man 2 that it requires 35 jugs of vinegar? Maybe it's 35 minus 8 and I overbought. If that's so, that's okay. 8 pots of vinegar. I need to get 8 logs, I'll just do that now. Alright, here we go. Rag and Bone Man. Tinderbox and 8 logs. Use a log on the pot boiler. Use a bone and vinegar on the pot boiler, then use your tinderbox. 12 seconds per bone. Yo, I got your stuff. That's the last of them. You'll be thrilled to know I completed the collection. Glad I could help. Big help and no mistake. I'm always on the lookout for fresh bones. If you see some, bring them right over. Can't wait to see the displays once they're finished. 500 prayer XP, 500 cooking XP. How's the sorting going? Going well, especially now I have all the bones I need. Still a few bits and pieces I wouldn't mind, but that's the way things go. If I see any bones I think you might like, I'll bring them over. Myself and the museum staff, we really appreciate it. Oh, I've already started it. Okay. Oh, yeah, it would have been nice if I had done this quest super early, because I would already have basilisk bones, experiment bones, rabbit bones, cave goblin bones. Interesting. I guess that's probably gated by a lot of quests in practice. Okay, well, that's the end of the episode. We mostly did cooking, grinding. Recipe for Disaster 8 is complete, and the end of Recipe for Disaster is on the horizon. Well, distant horizon. We need to get 175 quest points. We're at 147 quest points, so that's brick wall number 1. Brick wall number 2 is getting to a high enough combat that we can safely win. That's going to take quite a bit longer. So it would probably be 5 or more episodes before we can actually finish. Because of that, I think I'm going to go ahead and buy the dragon gloves, even though they're expensive. That'll involve some thieving. So next episode, which I'm going to be starting immediately, but from your perspective, you're probably going to have to wait like a week for. Next episode, we're going to be doing fletching, hunter, and farming training until they're all higher than herblore, so that I can do Tears of Guthix and spend it on herblore. Think. I think that's everything. I guess once Tears of Guthix is done, it's going to be Slayer, and I need to do a bunch of small, short quests. I should be able to do Taibo Wanai Trio next episode, because I should have the toad flax weeds, or, yeah, toad weeds necessary to make agility potions. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.